Hi guys, this is in response to our capstone project presentation. My topic for my capstone is exploring the perceptions of elementary age children on physical education. This is PE 584, Exercise Science capstone. For my introduction, children at a young age begin to realize the importance of physical activity through physical education. So as physical educators, as a physical educator, they need to prioritize children's perceptions or understand children's perception because it can be a factor in their attitude, motivation, and participation towards PE. The goal of physical education is to implement a healthy lifestyle, self-expression, and develop social and personal skills for the child. The purpose of the study was to explore the perceptions of physical education of elementary age children. The central research questions that I have chosen are: what are the perceived motivational factors for physical education participation of elementary age children? What is the perceived impact of physical education participation on self-confidence of elementary age children? And lastly, what are the effects of teacher emphasis on physical education of elementary age children? So my first literature review is Children's Motivation in Elementary PE. The purpose of the study was to examine the tenability of the speculative theories in the expectancy value model of achievement choice. This literature review, the results indicate that children's intentions in physical education was clearly associated with subject task values and or expectancy related values. So children participated and put in more effort in regards to what they were expected to do. So they were given a task and they applied themselves more when given a task. The article relates to the topic of perceptions of young children in physical education by examining the motivation of children and their task values. What motivates these kids to actively participate? Next literature review, slide 3, is appropriate instructional practice. The purpose of this study was to examine the knowledge of appropriate instructional practices in elementary children. The data analysis was confirmed based on students incorrectly identifying a few statements on the survey for this study. The results did indicate that most students were exposed to improper instructional time based on the comparison of responses to the NASPE. Implications of the study are that students were fine with the winning and losing aspect of activities in physical education. So this literature review was really interesting because from a personal perspective, I would think that a winning, losing, friendly competition in physical education can be beneficial, but it is not appropriate instructional practice. You take the winning and the losing out of physical education, and children seem to apply themselves more when they're not worried about score, or worried about winning or losing. This study is pertinent to the perceptions of physical education of elementary school children because it provides a deeper understanding of appropriate practices for children at an elementary age. The next literature review is Students' Perceptions of Teacher Feedback. The purpose of the study was to investigate students' perceptions of teacher feedback in physical education classes. This literature review, the results indicated that teacher perceptions or teachers' perceptions of PE can have a major impact on the children. You know, the children feed off the energy of the teacher. So if the teacher's hyped about PE, they will respond the same way. If a teacher is dull about PE, the children will respond the same way. So a motivational factor for the children is seeing their teacher excited about what they're excited for, physical education. This study is relevant to the perceptions of physical education of elementary school children because understanding the interpretation of instructions from teachers can help understand student perception. So that's important. So if teachers interpret directions in a complex way where it's kind of boring or complex for them to understand, they'll respond with, negative, with less effort and less participation in physical education. Methodology. I use a quantitative method for my study. The frequencies were calculated for each item on the survey. Survey research method was chosen based on the simplicity of the age. So elementary age is really young. It's really hard to grab their attention. So the easiest form for me was yes or no answers and nothing in between. And even at that, they were persuaded a little when, their classmates would answer out loud. I had to constantly remind them, to keep their opinions to themselves and, write it down on the paper and not to sway other people's opinions. So that was really hard. The instrument used for the study was the Perceptions of Elementary School Children on Physical Education survey. So the PES-CPES. Children were asked to complete the surveys to determine their perceptions of physical education. The survey did have 31 questions. The first few were based on demographics, and then the first 7 were based on my first research question, and then the next, and then as followed. The results of my study indicated or suggested that the effects of teacher emphasis had a significantly positive impact on the students. So, like I mentioned earlier in the other study, students fed off of the teacher's perception, the teacher's energy and motivation towards physical education. Also, the results suggested that the perceived impact of physical education participation on self-confidence is positive. So students did respond with that the majority of students responded with that they felt strong during PE, that they enjoyed PE, that they enjoyed playing with other kids in PE. Lastly, the results suggested that the perceived motivational factors are that most significant is from students participating in sports outside of school. So the majority, 81% of students from the 127 that I surveyed participated in sports outside of school, competitive sports at that. So the perceived motivational factors for them was important, the energy that they received from the teacher and the impact it took on them on physical education, participation, and self-confidence for them was highly positive. Discussion. So PE can be taught with many activities in mind, and understanding the interest and perspective of children can help aid in integrating motivational factors. So because PE is so vague, you can do so much with it. There's always a way to find motivational factors for these children to participate. 124 out of the 127 children that I surveyed put down yes that they enjoyed PE in general, and 120 out of the 127 enjoyed PE specifically when it was done outside. So climate is a motivational factor for children at this age. Bryan and Solomon determined that climate of the students was an effective influence on the attitudes and self-determination of the students. Turner Turner's results from his study indicated that students applied effective strategy and persistence when they believe they can accomplish a specific task or activity. So when they're given a simple task, on my survey, I did ask if the teacher made activities easy to understand. And Turner supports my research by indicating that students, when given a specific task and they understand it, will give more effort compared to, you know, a more complex task. A classroom that has positive PE perceptions was found to create more positive outcomes and effort as compared to those who have negative perceptions. If a child feels good about themselves and participating in PE, and 124 children felt good about participating in PE out of the 127, and 116 felt good finishing PE. So that's really high up there compared to, out of 127, that was almost the majority of students that felt good when participating and felt good when completing. Teacher participation in PE with students indicated that the majority of students, which 76 students, agreed that it was impactful, and fewer, 51, said it did not impact them. Students gave better effort when they did not worry about score or outperforming the other students. Recommendations for the future. Future recommendations would be to provide physical education with a school-wide or even a statewide assessment that can be treated equally to all other core subjects. So in my study, I did review a literature review that based their study on a school-wide assessment, and the results indicated that the students progressed more rapidly than they would without a school-wide assessment. And I think this is a great idea, because as long as everyone's doing the same thing and kids can monitor their own progress. Physical educators need to be held accountable for students' achievement goals. So just like math and English and, you know, all other core subjects, I think that physical education needs to be treated the same in order for these kids to improve and really understand the importance of physical education for lifelong effects. Maintaining student engagement and participation will include an assessment program to PE. So by assessing them continuously, not every quarter or semester or by the end of the year, by assessing them progressively,
it's 12 o'clock.
They will be able to improve. By monitoring student progress, it would allow students to adjust and improve according to their assessment results. So by giving them these results every, you know, month or every 6 weeks, they can physically see where they were at and drive to improve or ask how to improve, so they can visually assess their own progress. Implications. The results indicate that students were more likely to participate in PE when activities are easy to understand. So making activities easy to understand is important. School surroundings also have an influence on the perceptions of students. So school surroundings, you know, this can be having PE in the morning with, you know, X amount of students, having PE in the afternoon, or the time of PE does is a factor in physical education. Increase effort when knowing the task at hand and while receiving positive reinforcement from the teacher. Students like to hear positive reinforcement. Students, not just students, human beings in general just love to hear, not love, but enjoy hearing positive reinforcements, assurance that they're doing something right, or positive reinforcement with constructive criticism. You know, you're doing great, but let's try to fix this. So we need to constantly remind ourselves to give this feedback to the children and that they will listen. When educators are willing to demonstrate and participate in physical activities, it can help produce more effort from the children who participate. So physical educators, when they're excited about PE, the kids get excited about PE. They are role models to children and, you know, to their students. So by implementing just, you know, their home life or what they know about physical education and being excited about it during PE at school, these children will feed off of that. Future research. The present study would be revised by intentionally including a larger participant population, surveying more than one elementary school and including the teacher's participation in PE would make this possible. Include taking into consideration the actions and involvement of the teacher. So I would, for future research, make the participant sample larger, and larger not by doing every class in the school, but by doing more schools in different areas of the city. So for lower income neighborhoods, or, you know, across town, just doing a variety of elementary schools to see if your results will indicate the same, or what, you know, what differences in school settings, school environments, economic background, how that would affect the research. Also, I would definitely survey the teachers, because the teachers' perceptions do have an influence on the children. So I would like to survey the teacher and see what their perceptions are of physical education. And then next are my references, and I want to say good luck to everybody, and I really appreciate all the positive feedback and all the prayers and everything that you guys have helped me out through with every class that I've taken with you guys. I want to wish everybody best of luck, and that's it. Thank you.